Welcome to NFL Points, Picks, and Props. Last week we started off with a little rock music while we introduced ourselves. I found this fun little song. Let's give it a listen.
Can you hear it? The cheer of the crowd. I wish every play was a first down.
That's a real song somebody made. So this is NFL Points, Picks, and Props. It is week 4. Joining me, Ben O'Connell from Chicago, Tommy Birch from Springfield, Massachusetts, and I'm Kyle Garlett in Denver, Colorado. Gentlemen, week 3. You know what? I think we need Vince Lombardi to explain what happened in week 3.
What the hell's going on out here?
What the hell's going on out here? We got the Bills losing. We got the Chiefs losing. We're down to just one winless team, only 2 unbeatens through 3 weeks. That was a crazy week.
Oh, that was a perfect week. What are you talking about? Anytime the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Raiders all get upset and my Denver Broncos are the underdogs and prevail. Oh, let me tell you what, that's a perfect week in my book there, Kyle. Perfect.
Yeah, no, the Broncos are very impressive. Very impressive.
You only need 1 point to win.
Is very impressive.
You only need 1 point to win.
Hey, Tommy, you're a 49ers fan. Are the practice fields there? Are their end zones not 10 yards deep? Because most everybody else uses a 10-yard end zone there.
Next question.
No?
Hey, that's getting off light too. We would have taken the pick 6 the way our freaking offense is playing.
No, well, this is the veteran, the savvy veteran move by Jimmy Garoppolo. Trey Lance throws the pick 6 there, but Jimmy, recognizing a pick 6 is imminent, he steps out of bounds to take only the 2. Veteran move there by Jimmy.
Kyle Shanahan took the blame there, so I'm not going to blame Jimmy. All right, we're not gonna bash Jimmy in this little call we got going on.
No, let's blame the guy who was standing 50 yards away. That's good.
That Dan Orlovsky over there, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like, oh.
Well, we had a butt punt. We got Mark Sanchez got off the hook, and Dan Orlovsky got off the hook on the same Sunday. Amazing.
That's a collaboration I never thought I'd see.
Perfect week. Perfect.
Well, all right, let's go back through what our picks were. Starting with you, Mr. Birch. Now we'll start off with the good. You got the Devin Singletary anytime touchdown right off the bat. That happened early on, and that paid plus 140. So well done there. And you successfully had the Baltimore Ravens winning in their game. So well done there. The rest of it, though, was not great. Giants to win, no. Saints to win, no. Jets to cover, no. And, of course, you had the Las Vegas Raiders getting their first win of the season, and that did not happen either.
I really got nothing to say. At least I didn't go 0 for 5. That's all that matters.
You did not go 0 for 5, so we're pleased with that. And you got your favorite. You got the Eagles covering, and you did get the underdog covering. The underdog being the Falcons. So well done there.
Everything except for my actual picks.
Yeah. Ben, a mixed bag. DeAndre Swift got hurt, so he didn't end up scoring a touchdown. You did have the Atlanta Falcons getting their first win of the season. Nice, because they beat the juggernaut Seahawks. And we know the Seahawks are good because they already beat the Broncos. You jumped on that Arizona Cardinals bandwagon, and that didn't go so well.
The beta was too good.
Yes.
The beta
Finally,
was
somebody.
The Modern Warfare beta was too good. Kyler couldn't stop playing.
You jumped all over the Houston Texans, and that, to be fair, you only lost that by a half point, but that's a critical half point.
Yeah.
Well done on the Eagles, and then the 49ers. You hedged your bet there. You had the money line on the Broncos. You had the point spread on the 49ers. So it's a good.
You would have guaranteed win there, basically.
Listen, the way I'm saying, the way Denver played, San Francisco should have covered 1.5 points. Let's be honest, but the Broncos money line definitely came through there, and that's where I hammered all my money like a true fan. So that's the one that counts in my book.
Yeah, the Broncos had 9 3-and-outs in that game. 9 3-and-outs. In fact, I've got some notes here on the Broncos offense through 3 weeks. Can I share those with you?
Yeah.
I've got them here on my computer. Through 3 weeks, they are the only team in the NFL that has failed to get to at least 20 points in a game. So that's kind of fun to be the only one. They had the 9 3-and-outs. The 10 punts for the Broncos was the most they've had since they punted 11 times in 2016 with Paxton Lynch as the quarterback. And
Wow.
I thought Russell Wilson was supposed to cure the Paxton Lynch blues. Not including kneel
Jimmy
downs.
G had a better game than Russell Wilson.
Not including kneel downs, the Broncos have had 31 offensive possessions, and those have ended with 16 punts, 3 turnovers, 7 field goals, 2 missed field goals, and 3 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns in 31 possessions. That is last in the NFL.
And we're tied for the lead for
Tied
the
for first
division.
place, yes.
That's
Tied
what
for
I'm.
first
That's what
place.
I'm hearing. And
Tied for
I
first
think
place.
we are 2-1. Like I said earlier, it only takes 1 point to win, as Tommy's 49ers found out this week. You know,
Yes.
there's a lot of concerning things in trends. I will not deny you there. However, I think that this is like when you play chess against a newbie and you play without your queen. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we're just letting the numbers even out before Russell starts cooking, and obviously our offense rises to the top of the NFL.
And you know what? This reminds me a lot
Obviously.
of this Broncos team is really reminding me of the Tim Tebow Broncos. Terrible on offense until they kind of need to be. And Tim Tebow, he led the NFL in comeback wins or something. You guys might make the playoffs. Sure. It doesn't make your offense good.
I believe it was the very first time where we had a playoff game where it was no longer sudden death, but if a touchdown won it for you, that would end the playoff game. And the Broncos were the very first team to get that touchdown to win the playoff game. I remember that pass from Tebow. Great. It was a Demaryius Thomas that caught the touchdown. Is that correct, Ben? Do you remember that?
Yeah, that was a DT on the first play over. It was an 80-yard touchdown. Maybe one of the most remarkable plays I've ever seen in my life.
Takes us back.
Yeah.
Love DJ.
So actually, in terms of how we are doing in our standings here, our picks. So I am going to stop picking favorites because I am not good at it. I am, though, very good at picking underdogs, so I'll continue there. You guys are both overall. You are 4-2 with your picks. I am 1 game behind you, and the easy money line bets. I am out in front. I did lose this week with my pick of the Arizona Cardinals, but I'm still up $170. You, Ben, with your pick of the Broncos, moved further into plus territory, or moved into plus territory, and then Tommy, 3 bets, 3 losses. That's $300 in the red there.
Talked about me. Is there still?
We have faith. We have faith that you'll pick it up this week. And to get us started for this week, obviously, what we do every week is we play a game. And we're going to play a game today to see who gets to go first with their picks. And today's game is going to be match the team to the league. So I'm going to name you a defunct football team, and it is going to be from one of 4 leagues. It is either going to be a defunct NFL team. It is going to be from the World Football League, which was played in the 1970s, the first iteration of the USFL from the 1980s, or when the CFL decided to come into the United States and have American teams. So again, I'm not going to read you the multiple choice, but your multiple choice options are NFL, USFL, World Football League, or Canadian Football League. All right, we ready to go? Ben, it is your turn to go first, and so I'm going to read to you the first team in our game. All right, Michigan Panthers. Michigan Panthers.
That's USFL.
And he doesn't waste any time. It is, in fact, the USFL.
Speaking of Paxton Lynch.
All right, so you are up 1-0. All right, Tommy, the Memphis Mad Dogs. Who were the Memphis Mad Dogs a part of?
That sounds like World Football League.
Final answer?
Yes.
No, the Memphis Mad Dogs played in the Canadian Football League back in the 90s.
I thought the Mad Dogs was just too unprofessional for the CFL.
Look,
Come on now.
The Canadians do all kinds of weird things up there. It's cold, you start to be weird out. All right, moving on.
Judges 40 or 61st, crazy stuff.
All right, over to you, Ben. Which league did the Kansas City Cowboys play in?
It's an old NFL team.
It is, in fact, an old NFL team. Yes. They played in 1924 and 1920 to 1926. They started off as the Kansas City Blues, changed their name to the Kansas City Cowboys, and were quickly out of the NFL. All right, so you are now a perfect 2-0. So, Tommy, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to win, but we are going to be able to at least give you a chance here to get on the board before we call it.
Well, I have a barter to make. I have a barter.
Yeah.
If I guess correctly, and I guess the time period that they were playing in, can I get an extra point?
Well, some of these time periods are pretty limited. Like the World Football League was a 2-year period.
So if I say like the 1930s or something like that.
Okay.
Do you think I can get an extra point for that?
If what you're trying to say is that you're having so much fun that you'd like to play the 3 rounds, I leave that to our colleague who is leading at the moment.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. He's gonna miss it. It doesn't matter.
All right, we're gonna go to a third round. Okay, a third round. All right. So now in round 2, I'm going to give you the team name, and you tell me which league they played in. The Louisville Colonels. Where did the Louisville Colonels play their professional football?
See, I would say CFL, but I don't think they would have Colonels. I'm going to go USFL.
Louisville Colonels were also an NFL team. They played in 1926, and the Louisville Colonels finished their one and only season in the NFL without scoring a point.
Oh, wow.
Like what you're doing right now.
Thank you. I appreciate the support.
So let's go on to our third round, Ben. All right. Your team name, Florida Blazers. Where did the Florida Blazers play?
The World Football Alliance.
Well, you're close in that it was the World Football League.
Oh yeah, that thing.
Not the Alliance.
Give me the last question. We're just gonna get to the picks. I don't want to do it anymore.
All right, we're gonna do one more. You asked for a third round. We're gonna do one.
I did not ask. That was your counter offer. That was your counter offer.
Here's your team, Tommy. The Denver Gold. The Denver Gold.
You can get this one.
Just sounds like the Denver Nuggets. So it can't be the NBA.
They are not an NBA team. That is correct. That's a half a point right there.
It was good enough for the Barrel Man. There's your hint.
It was good enough for what?
The Barrel Man. He showed up to the Denver Gold games.
That doesn't help me at all.
Well, you should.
Well, the Barrel Man is a contemporary, so that what that tells you is the Denver Gold didn't play in the 1930s.
I don't know. Give me
one of four options.
Give me the USFL, I guess.
It is the USFL. Way to go! And Tommy gets on the board. Nicely done.
So 1.5
Nicely
points.
done there.
Nice.
With you getting 1.5 points, and sadly losing, but you made a game out of it. I do want to introduce our audience to one of our new sound drops, actually made possible by Mr. Birch last week. Let's go ahead and listen.
Ugh, feels weird in my mouth.
Whoa!
So, yeah. So that was when Tommy picked the New York Giants.
Ugh, feels weird in my mouth.
Yeah. Now this is a judgment-free zone. And you're in college, so metaphorically speaking, this is the time of your life to figure out what feels weird in your mouth and what doesn't. Metaphorically speaking, of course. And you can decide whether or not you want to ask your mother to not watch this week's episode. But as all great comedy, we're gonna definitely beat that horse to death with that sound drop. And look, nobody's immune. If Ben drops something like that, I'll definitely cut it and we'll use it. And if I say something foolish like that, well, not foolish, it was a moment of
bold
truth.
statement. A
If
bold
we're
statement.
going to talk about a bold statement, why don't we get your whole get up with the Chiefs song and everything? We should do that instead. We're talking about bold statements. That's a pretty bold one, especially losing to Indy.
He pulled out the
Losing
way
to-
to lose to Indy.
They lost to Indy because of foul language. Anyway, I thought we were moving on to today's picks.
Yeah. You can dish it, but you can't take it.
I can absolutely take it, and I will when we get to talking about the Chiefs, we can talk about the Chiefs.
I'll save more for later. I'll save more for later.
Absolutely, absolutely. You are welcome to go after the 2-1 first place Kansas City Chiefs.
Tie for
Yes,
first place.
I will.
Tie for
All
first
right.
place.
We are going to move on, and we're going to have Mr. O'Connell begin our picks for the day.
Yeah.
So Ben, you've got 5 games to get to for us. Go ahead and start.
Yeah, I got 5 games all coming to you 1 p.m. Eastern time in that first window. Well, I guess second window since there's a game in London. Tell you what, the first game I'm going to talk about is going to be the Seattle Seahawks at the Detroit Lions. Listen, you know, they were 6-point dogs to Minnesota. They covered, but they lost, and I feel like Mr. Birch, it may have left some people with a weird taste in their mouth. And you're wondering to yourself, are these Lions for real? Because we've seen some sparks early on. I'm here to confirm to you that's not a weird taste. These Lions are for real. And they're going to get the job done against the Seahawks at home. I think Goff has a good game. Swift being a little battered up, this is going to be an issue. They have a deep running back room. You don't really need to worry about it. I like the Detroit Lions -4.
You know, interesting thing about that game is they had an opportunity there on a 4th down towards the end of the game. They could have gone for it, salted the game away. Instead, Dan Campbell opted to kick the ball, and then they ended up losing in the end. And as much fun as our first down song was, I actually have a song for Dan Campbell for him to remember next time he faces such a situation.
You're going to have to send that to me so I can send it to Coach Hackett too. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I did a deep dive on I came across these songs, and about 8-9 hours later, I was still listening to all the various songs out there. So I wasted an entire day. It was fantastic. Tommy, I know you have some thoughts about this game because you actually have your prop of the day is from this game. Do you want to talk about that?
My prop on the day actually follows Ben's logic here. I think that Detroit not only wins this game, I think they win by a lot. And I think because they go up by a lot, Jared Goff's not going to need to throw the ball as much. My thought process here is, you know, this Detroit team, I'm going to talk a little bit more about it later. You know, they are second in interceptions. Sorry, not second in interceptions. They only have 2 interceptions. They're 5th in passing touchdowns right now. And they're 3rd in rushing yards and 2nd in touchdowns. This is an incredible offensive team, and Seattle's not ready for it. I think they're going to run through them, and you know Jared Goff's going to get an easy 175, maybe 200 in the first half, get up by 2 or 3 scores, and not have to, maybe get in the backups.
Yeah, this is the first time the Lions have actually been a favorite since 2020. Last year, underdog all 17 games. They went 11-6 against the spread, 3-0 against the spread this year. They were a pick 'em against Washington's. They weren't officially a favorite until now. I hate the fact that they're now becoming a favorite. People are catching on to the fact that the Lions are a good team, and we're no longer going to be able to bet that value. But man, I'm a Lions believer. I'm glad you guys are too.
Yeah.
All right, let's
Can't
move on
go
to your
wrong
next
with them.
game.
Next game, we're going to stay in the NFC North. We're going to talk about the Chicago Bears going to MetLife to play the New York Giants. Listen, the Chicago Bears are bad. New York Giants are bad too. Listen, let me take you back, a season or what was it last season already? It's freaking Teddy Bridgewater with the Broncos has a hot start. You kind of ask yourself, wow, are they for real? No, they weren't for real. And tell you what, the Giants aren't for real either. Chicago Bears are a bad team. Giants are a bad team. I think it's a 3-point game. I think Giants probably win by like a walk-off field goal or something. Because of that half point makes me lean the Bears. If it gets down to +3 territory, I'd be wary of that. But since it's currently at 3.5, our friends on USA Wager, I got to go with the Bears.
The Bears have attempted 45 passes in 3 weeks. There were 6 quarterbacks who attempted 45 passes just last week. So, it's that offense is interesting to say the least.
I don't talk about the Giants to me. I grew up in a family of Patriots fans. I was able to, leave that terrible, terrible time and make myself a 49ers fan. But you know what Patriots fans do when they're growing up at my age? They hate the Giants. When I don't know what age I was, I watched the David Tyree catch live. I was a youngin'. I was a toddler-ish. No, I wasn't a toddler, but I was really young, besides the point. And you know what? I cried myself to sleep that night. And it's just against all of my morals. I cannot believe I did it. I thought I liked Daniel Jones, thought I liked Saquon. I'm never picking them again.
Well, Ben, by picking the Bears, you avoided the bad side of picking the Giants.
Feels weird in my mouth.
Yeah, picking the Giants feels weird in your mouth. So,
and I'm never going to want that feeling ever again.
Good on you for picking the Bears. All right, your next game.
Next game is going to be the Browns going all the way to Atlanta. And let me tell you, I think that there's a trend with teams playing Seattle and then us having a weird reaction to them the next day. I don't think Atlanta is actually that great. I think that they're good. I think that they're decent. I do think that Cleveland's better. I think that Cleveland has enough offensive weapons to just outscore what Atlanta can do. They got Pitts more involved last game, which I thought was good, but he still needs to be more involved. And I just don't see that production happening. With a window of only 1.5 points, I do think that Cleveland easily covers that. I'm going to take Cleveland at 1.5.
I was looking at the DVOA numbers after 3 weeks, and offensively, the Browns actually are 3rd in the league in offensive DVOA, and it's largely because Nick Chubb is a stud, and Jacoby Brissett's actually playing pretty good football. I do like the Pitts, London finally getting both of them involved, and obviously Cordell Patterson had a terrific week last week, but the Browns are 2-1. I don't disagree with you. I think 3-1 is where they're going.
And you know what? I'm actually going to have to disagree a little bit here. I think that Atlanta had some very close, winnable games. And I think now their offense is starting to mesh a little more. Mariota is getting into his rhythm. I think I talked about this before. He looks good. The offense looks good. They got Kyle Pitts more involved last week. Cordarrelle is playing out of his mind this whole season. I have a little bit of faith in these Falcons, and I think they might do a little bit of upsetting on this Browns team.
Fair enough. All right, Ben, your next game.
Next game, we're going to go to the Commanders traveling to Dallas to play the Cowboys with a spread of 3.5 points. I don't know how it came to this, but I'm picking the Dallas Cowboys. And I'll tell you why. It's because it's the Washington Commanders. It's a divisional game. It's in Dallas. The fans are going to be there. They're going to be rowdy. and it's the Commanders, and I'm sure that I've been underestimating them this whole season. But I'm not really sure who's been out there betting them either, and I don't know how much success they're actually having with it either. So ultimately, listen, are the Dallas Cowboys that we thought they were, where they're just mediocre, and every year everyone goes, "Oh, it's gonna be different." No, it's not different. But you know what? It's the same thing with Washington. They're not any different either. I'm gonna take the Cowboys at -3.5 or at -3.5. Probably win by like 5 to 7.
Well, I mentioned DVOA on the Browns. Washington Commanders currently rank 32nd in the league in DVOA. Yeah, they are not good. They might be the worst team in football. Cowboys are no world beaters, but they can beat the Commanders.
I I like some of the Commanders, but I can't also say that I like some of the game of football, because that leaves a lot of room to maneuver. And as a football player myself, if I say that I kind of like football, it's not a very good look. But there's some pieces on the Commanders team that just make me go like, wow, they're really doing well this year. Like Carson Wentz is not playing bad at all, But it's just there's just things that need to be fixed, and I can't even list them off right now. And you know what, Cooper Rush, that guy, he's a magician. I mean, I don't know where I saw this stat, but I think he's undefeated in all of his first starts, and he's had game-winning drives in most, if not all of them. I'm fairly certain. And you know what? Like, that's a pretty good stat to have. Cooper Rush might take Dak's job. Dak couldn't do anything in the clutch. This guy's incredible. So yeah, I guess I have to agree with the pick here.
I think we can maybe slow down on Dak losing his job, but you are correct. I wrote about this week. 3 times in Dallas Cowboys history as a quarterback won his first 3 games. Cooper Rush being one, Jason Garrett being one, and Roger Staubach being one. Now, both Garrett and Staubach have Super Bowl rings, so does that mean Cooper Rush is on his way to Super Bowl ring? Now, of course, Garrett didn't start to get his. He was a Troy Aikman backup, but hey, 3-0, and nobody else. Certainly, Dak Prescott didn't start off 3-0. Tony Romo didn't start off 3-0. It's just Roger Staubach and Jason Garrett, so it's not terrible.
Not a great quarterback situation either, though. Let's be honest. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. All right. Moving on from the Cowboys and Commanders.
Yeah, my last game of the week here is going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Philadelphia Eagles, and what I think is probably a sleeper game of the week. I think that this is going to be for both of these teams when we find out what kind of team they're going to be this year. I think that the Jags are going to be a real test for the Philadelphia Eagles, and just as much so for vice versa. And this is why I lay with the Eagles here. It's in Philly. The place is brutal to play in, especially if you're a second-year quarterback, basically a rookie, though, if you call that first season, a wash. Doug Peterson's return, don't know how much that's going to be, an impact for him, play calling and such. So with that all being said, I like the Philadelphia Eagles at -6.5, but it is a closer game than what the scoreboard shows at the end of the day. I think that Philly covers, but we're going to sit back and go, wow, either team could have won this game, which also leads into my prop of the week, which is that I believe Trevor Lawrence has himself a good day and has over 1.5 passing touchdowns. You can get that in plus money. And honestly, why wouldn't you? I guess from where I'm sitting, Trevor Lawrence is starting to look like the dude we thought he was when he got drafted. And he is scoring a lot. Well, of course, I think everyone's scoring if you're watching Bronco games every week. But the Jags are definitely getting on the board a respectable amount. I think Trevor Lawrence goes in there and shows that he is the real deal. Like I said, I don't expect him to win, but I do like over 1.5 passing touchdowns, especially in the plus money.
Yeah, I hate that this is what the game that's on the schedule for the Jaguars, because I want to continue to believe in the Jaguars. I want to believe that not only are they going to win their division, but they actually can win a playoff game or two. I want to believe that they can go from the number 1 draft pick to a team that actually is competing for the Super Bowl. And if they had anybody else on the schedule, I'd be like, yes, this Jacksonville team is going to go 3-1. But they run into the best team in football right now. Jalen Hurts playing some of the best football of anybody in the league. And it makes me sad because I think that the glass slipper on Jacksonville is going to come off a little bit. Now, I still think they're the best team in the AFC South. I still think that they are a playoff team because if they win the division, of course they are. But I do think that we're going to see that the Eagles are, in fact, a much better team and that the Jags just aren't quite ready to compete at that level.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say it feels weird in my mouth saying that Jacksonville's good this year. They're incredible, to be honest with you. I was shocked to see the way that they've performed in the last couple of weeks. And as much as I think the -6.5 might be a bit much, I think that I wouldn't touch this game as a better, personally. And, Philly -6.5, the only reason I'm saying I wouldn't touch this game is because I think that it'll go to 7 points, 1 touchdown. That's what I see. If this was a -7, -7.5, I might have to pick against the Eagles, but you saw the game they had against Detroit. Jacksonville is more than capable on the offensive side of the ball. So yeah, I'm a little conflicted, but I'll agree with you.
All right. Well, we all agree that that's going to be a great game to watch, and we probably wouldn't have said that a month ago. So that's what's great about the NFL. All of a sudden, a Jaguars game in Week 4 actually has importance. All right, Tommy, we are moving on to your picks now.
All righty.
You want to get us going with your 5?
Yeah, I'll start it off. Number 1, Green Bay -9.5. Not much to be said here. Without Mac Jones, who's one of, if not the best player on that Patriots offense, which already on its own is an incredibly lackluster offense, they're not going to keep up. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is playing against one of the worst offenses in the league right now. And I can't, Brian Hoyer, even if they put in Bailey Zapp, nothing's changing my mind here. It'll go even worse than this.
Yeah, I mean, my only pause is that the Patriots play good defense, and against a very good Bucs defense, Aaron Rodgers managed 14 points. In order for him to win by 10, I'm thinking that the Packers probably need to get over 20 into the mid-20s. And does he do that against this defense and against Bill Belichick?
I feel like he is. I think it's going to be a bit of a bounce back week for them offensively, because I really don't see Aaron Rodgers only putting up 14 points 2 weeks in a row. I mean, as much as, they haven't been incredible on offense so far this year. He's going to do well at some point. I feel like this is the perfect time to start.
Okay. Ben, do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I think I'm with you there that they need to score probably 19 at the least to cover. I could see New England putting up around 9 to 10 there. Talking about games we don't want to touch, I think because of it's such a large window, I'm not going to be touching it this Sunday. But if I had to lean either way, I'd probably go with the Packers, because I hate betting against Aaron Rodgers because I always look like a fool.
He does do that. All right, your next game, Tommy.
Next game, Indianapolis -3. And you know what? I'm a bit confused. So, I'm
confused. You were just talking about as if Indianapolis was the dregs of the league, and how could the Chiefs lose to the lowly Indianapolis Colts? Now you have the Colts winning 2 in a row.
Okay, hear me out. Okay, I have a whole spiel here. Indianapolis
Please explain.
goes and gets skunked by the Jaguars, and Matt Ryan played horrifically.
the same
Like, I
Jaguars
think
team that just beat the crap out of the Chargers. So
yes. So they went 24-0. How many other teams have scored 0 points in the game this year?
I think
Exactly.
that's the only shot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They were the only team, and then they go out there and beat one of the best teams in football. It's just I've got nothing to say here. It's back and forth, but you know what? Tennessee gets absolutely demolished by a Bills team that just lost, and they just beat Vegas. And Vegas has a well-rounded team, and as much as they are winless at this point, right? You know they
the
look
Titans
pretty
just
good for
Titans.
winless.
Neither one of these teams are winless.
It doesn't make much sense to me. So
Right.
you know what? They lost by a huge margin to a team of equal ability. The Titans did, and the Colts beat a team of similar caliber. So that's my thought process here. I'm
All right.
taking Indy.
I'm looking forward to watching Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor. That's the only reason I care about this game. I think watching those two guys go at it will be fun.
Oh my goodness. You want to talk about the dredge of the league? It's just the AFC South in general. Both these teams suck. All the teams in the AFC South minus the Jags suck. What is this game? Honestly, you might even just bet for the tie because honestly, wouldn't that just be apropos here? If I had to pick, I'd probably lean Titans. Just because what makes the Colts win so incredible over Kansas City is the fact that they really still are a bad team and will go back to that losing trend. And so when we look back on it 8 weeks from now and go, wow, wasn't that amazing? It will still be amazing. It's not like this is a turnaround for the Colts. I like the Titans at +3.
Really good teams lose and really bad teams win. So
That is the NFL. All right, your next game. And is when you speak of really bad teams, are we referencing this particular game by chance?
I would group them into that category. Denver. I been Denver Broncos country. I apologize for what I said. However, I still don't think you're good. I'm unhappy. I am quite upset. I'm appalled. San Francisco. What happened? And you know what? I have a lot to say.
In my opinion, that sucked. Pitiful. I mean, it's absolutely pitiful to perform like that. Pitiful.
And you know what? The reason that I can't knock Denver too much is because San Francisco has one of, if not the best defenses in the league. And being able to hold, even win that game and hold the score to the way it was, it's a little impressive. A little impressive because San Francisco is no bum. So, Vegas just lost to the Titans. You know what? I don't trust them. I really don't. I'm done. Give me Denver.
Do we know that the 49ers are one of the best defenses in the league? I mean, they played the Bears and lost. Was it they beat the Falcons and then they lost to a team that punted the ball 10 times. I'm sure that they're a good defense.
I really do think that once
paper they are.
Well, I think once they play a good competitor, I still think that the defense is going to show out. I know that's not my 49ers bias. That's me as a football player and a football fan.
Okay.
I do think that the defense is incredibly talented, and I think the one thing I am a little worried about is their defensive backs. But you know what? If that is the case, and
we can break down the 49ers here, and we still have them, and they do have a test this week against the Rams.
Yeah, but that's more of a if that's the case, and the 49ers aren't one of the best defenses in the league, that doesn't really help Denver's case very much either. But I like to be hopeful and think positively about this Denver team and what they did, because as much as I don't like the Denver Broncos, I do like the Denver Broncos. So I'm gonna have to make their pick.
All right, Ben, this is your team. You want to go for it?
Listen. We can debate where the 49ers are one of the best defenses in the league later, but we can confirm that the Broncos have one of the best defenses in the league. And not only do they have one of the best defenses, they have something that a defense in Denver has not had in many, many years, which is a quarterback that under center, though maybe not performing up to the name, is a name big enough for you to believe that he will pull through in the fourth quarter and win you a football game. Even going back to the Tebow years, we know Tebow wasn't a good quarterback. Consistently, though, you just believed that in the fourth quarter he would find a way to win you a game. Peyton Manning, 2015, same thing. He wasn't going to win you a game offensively, but you believed that the defense was going to pull through, that Peyton would do what he needed to march the ball down the field and find that game-winning field goal. This is what Russell Wilson has brought to Denver. He has brought the belief that at any drive, even though we can punt 10 times a game, we still have this weird belief that he could drive down. And why? Because he did it to the 49ers. And as much as the Broncos are just miraculously finding ways to victory, the Raiders are miraculously finding ways to lose consistently. Why? Because that's who Josh McDaniels is, and that's what he does, and that's what the Raiders do. Give me the Broncos plus 2.5 any day. We're going in. We're going to win. It's going to be a great day for Denver fans.
This is disgusting. This is horrifying.
I don't know if you guys saw it. One of the former Broncos players was releasing some Josh McDaniels stories online today. And it sounds like he is – we see this with a lot of the former Belichick assistant coaches where they go off to become head coaches and they try to be little mini Belichicks, and that is they try to be total dicks to their players. And they think that winning means making football completely miserable. And it turns out that that's a formula that only Belichick seems to make work. None of his assistant coaches do that. McDaniels failed to do that in Denver. They crashed and burned. And now he's failing to do that in I almost called him Oakland, in Vegas. I think that the pickup of Davante Adams was very good, but it has been negated 3 times over by hiring Josh McDaniels. This was a Raiders team that was a playoff team last year. We're supposed to be making the next step forward. And certainly on paper, they've got the personnel to do that. But the guy calling the shots, the guy making all the decisions, the guy setting the tone is awful. And the Raiders, because of that, are awful. I would love it if the Broncos could lose this game because they are now tied with the Chiefs, but I don't see that happening. I just don't see Josh McDaniels winning this game. So I guess we're all in agreement there that only one of us is happy about it, but the 3 of us agree that the Denver Broncos are probably going to win this game.
Let's all say it together now. Let's ride. Yeah. Yeah, right? Right?
No.
Okay.
We're not gonna say that. I don't know if you guys saw the I've got it here somewhere. I've got the little soundbite. Maybe I didn't load it up. The video of Russell Wilson's Subway commercial. Have you guys seen it?
I watched that today on Instagram, which is why it's funny to me.
Yeah, it's interesting. Here, I've got it here somewhere.
It gives me the vibes of the soundbite that you took from me.
Yeah, the careful though it's spicy is going to haunt me for a long time.
Careful though, it's spicy.
That's the voice I want tucking me into bed at night. I don't know about y'all. That's the voice of a leader.
If that's the guy tucking you into bed, I gotta ask where your parents went. Like, what happened? Like, he took you. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
All right. Yeah, he's an interesting cat, that's for sure. All right. I feel like we've talked about the Broncos too much. In fact, not just that we've enough. It's been too much. So we'll move on to your next game, Tommy.
You had to give me two teams that have failed me constantly. Arizona and Carolina. I gotta like. I'm so conflicted because both of these teams have done me dirty so much, and Carolina has one decent game, and now they're pitted as the favorites against Arizona. Arizona has had. There's no argument here. A significantly more difficult schedule starting off the season so far, and Carolina has a decent game, like good enough to win. But every team in the NFL wins. I am so beyond upset that these teams are playing against each other because they're both on my hit list. I don't like either of them. They're making me angry. And Arizona, I have to pick Arizona here because Carolina's not good. They're bad. And I swear if they come back and ruin me one more time, that dang Carolina team, I'm going to flip my desk over and we won't even be able to record next week. I am so upset. And you know what? Like, even against strong opponents, like Arizona's offense finds a way into the red zone somehow. And screw Carolina, screw Arizona. Give me the goddamn Cardinals.
All right. I don't know where to go from there. Kyler Murray is on my fantasy football team, but he is also on the bench right now. So that lets you know what I think of this game, and in particular, Arizona's prospects in Carolina. So, Ben, you have thoughts on Kyler Murray and the Cardinals?
Yeah, it's like what my parents said about me growing up, which Kyler would be really good if he applied himself. Like this guy is absolutely freaking phenomenal, but I just worry sometimes that he's not, developing his game IQ to the level that he should be. In looking at those, remarkable plays in the Oakland game, those 2-point conversions, that's a lot of potential, but it's also just, lack of, I think, of being able to get the functional offense out there. I feel like he feels like he has to do it all himself. And I feel like if he just locked into the game plan a little bit more, he'd realize he doesn't necessarily have to. Anytime, though, that you can find a 1.5 dog to the Panthers, I think you probably take it, though. As much as I do like the Cardinals, I'm gonna pick them, not necessarily off of the Cardinals, but just because of who they're playing. And I think that just tells you about how much I think the Panthers. That's how highly I think of them this year.
The Cardinals might be the best team in football when a play is broken. Because Kyler Murray, outside of the pocket, when the routes aren't what they intended to be, and he has to just play football, God damn it, those Cardinals are good.
I would amend that to say that Kyler Murray is the best player when the play breaks down. I am not terribly impressed by his teammates and what his wide receivers do to help him out. That's why we see him running so much, because the wide receivers still can't find any open space, and he has no choice but to run the ball.
That's reasonable.
But he is fun to watch. All right, you have one last game.
Yes, I do. Kansas City. I'm rooting for you. This is not our Tom Brady. He could only string together a drive at the end of the game with some consistent passes to, get them into the position they needed to be. And, Kansas City is just significantly better. Losing to Indy was a fluke. We just talked about it before. They're going to rock Tampa Tom and his little ragtag crew. Give me the Chiefs -1.5.
Mike Evans is back for the Bucs, which will help their offense. But it's hard to know really how this hurricane is going to affect them. They are going to play the game in Tampa. They're not moving it as they initially talked about. So it will be there. But obviously, all of these players spent the week in Miami. They are obviously parts of the community. Now, Tampa wasn't hit as directly as some of the places south of there, but it's just hard to know how things will affect everybody mentally because of the severity of the storm. Obviously, it's we all are thinking about everybody in Florida. Football is probably the last thing that anybody cares about there. But in terms of the actual game, I think the Buccaneers offense will be better than they were last year or last week. I mean, but the Chiefs did lose because of a personal foul penalty for using harsh language by Chris Jones. Jones gets a sack. It's fourth down. They're going to get off the field. Instead, the referee says that you can't say that on a football field. He throws a flag. The drive continues, and the Colts get the touchdown. You also have a backup kicker in there who missed a 34-yard field goal and an extra point. Travis Kelce drops a touchdown pass. That doesn't happen very often. I think the Chiefs, those things that cost them last week, and not to take away anything from the Colts, because the Colts did deserve to win. The things that cost the Chiefs last week won't be issues this week. I not only do I want the Chiefs to go back to Tampa, they lost there in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. I think that they go back and win. So that's my thoughts on this game that we were super excited about maybe 6 months ago when it first popped up on the schedule. But as you said, Tom Brady is just something missing about Tom Brady this year, and I think it's not quite the matchup we've seen in the past.
I often wonder if the crazy evil villain that is Tom Brady, I wonder if natural disasters do in fact fuel his play like other villains out there. But I don't see it happening. And just to kind of step away from the game aspect, the fact that the game's being played in Tampa, I really wonder. Minneapolis was being set up as an alternative, and I wonder what that hometown feeling is going to be like. I wonder if you get a New Orleans Saints type of feeling, like post Katrina, where they felt like they were playing for a bigger thing for their city. With all that being said, as much as I will be rooting for Tampa, regardless of the fact that they're playing against the Chiefs, it's just for the community and everything that's affected. It feels like Philly, where it's or the Jags game, where you just wish that they were playing someone else, because I do think that the Chiefs are going to be feeling a certain way after that loss. I don't see them, hitting the brakes or anything. So I think the Chiefs cover handily. But with that being said, in the world of sports and where emotions come into play and can be a big thing, never count, a hometown team that's playing for something bigger than themselves. So with that all being said, I'm siding with the Chiefs here at 1.5. But like I said, hearts and thoughts and prayers, of course, going out to Tampa Bay and all Florida.
All right, well said. All right, thank you, Tommy. Those are your 5 games. It is now my 5 games, and we are going to start across the Atlantic, where the cheeky Minnesota Vikings take on the lost the plot New Orleans Saints, who just dropped one to the Carolina Panthers. Look, Alvin Kamara does have some dodgy ribs right now, but this is a guy who caught touchdown passes, not touchdown, caught 80 passes 4 different times in his career. He has 5 through 3 games. What is happening here? Why are they not throwing the ball to Kamara at all? They're not. It's the offense. I mean, Chris Olave is showing to be really good. Michael Thomas is showing to be healthy and really good. He's got 3 touchdowns already. but yet some reason this offense just isn't doing anything. And I think it's because they're not getting Kamara involved in the passing game. And I think that the part of that is that they are feeling the change from Sean Payton, who was an offensive genius, to Dennis Allen, who was a long-time defensive coordinator. And I think that shift is really hurting the New Orleans Saints right now. And I know that Kirk Cousins struggles in prime time. And yes, this is a nationally televised game, but it is the opposite of prime time. Instead of being a night game, it's actually going to be morning time for them, for his body. So it's going to have the reverse effect. You know, prime time is his kryptonite. Well, playing in the morning is going to be like when Superman locked himself in the crystal chamber and he re-engineered it so that everybody outside was being affected. So General Zod loses all of his power while he's in the chamber protected. That is going to be Kirk Cousins on Sunday. He is going to be in his little crystal chamber. He's going to be protected. General Zod is going to be out there losing all his powers, and he's going to throw him down the crevice. I think the Kirk Cousins-led Minnesota Vikings go into London, into Tottenham Stadium, on the pitch there in Tottenham, and they show those Brits how American football is supposed to be played. They will win this game, and I think they easily cover the 2.5-point spread.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, New Orleans, I'm a little sad about them at the moment. I was really excited for them this year.
They're the dog's bollocks. I'm just throwing out English words now.
You know, Jameis, I was so ready for Jameis to be the Jameis we saw last year. Sean Payton made the most out of him, but he's just looking like old Jameis right now. He's not the way he should be. And Minnesota, you know, the earlier Kirk plays, the better he is. He's going to be like the best quarterback to ever play the game. He's going to break every passing record. Vikings are going to smoke him.
I think that the Vikings should be doing that. One thing I will throw out, though, is I'm not touching this game. Why? Because it's an international game, and international games are notorious for being a toss-up. Weird things happen across the seas. With that being said, though, it should be a fun game to wake up and watch at 8:30 local time here. Jeez.
Well, yeah, it's 6-hour time difference between both Minneapolis and New Orleans. So that's what they're dealing with. Long flight. As my British friends would say, they all might be knackered. But I do think that the Vikings get it done because they're just the better team right now. All right, moving on. This is a game that I'm not interested in watching at all. I will watch it because it's football, but I've already decided I will not enjoy it. You know, we were all about the Jets after they covered against the Browns and when they had that incredible comeback. The Jets reverted to being the Jets last week. I don't care that Zach Wilson is going to be the quarterback. I mean, obviously that's a good move for them. Joe Flacco has no future with the team. If Zach Wilson is going to be your guy, you need to find that out now. And I do like Garrett Wilson. I like watching him, but man, I just don't care about these two teams. They're boring. I wouldn't touch this game either because you never know. You've got, you know, Zach Wilson could go out and throw 5 interceptions. Mitchell Trubisky could go out and throw 5 interceptions. This game could swing 25 points one way or the other based on just terrible quarterback play. I'm picking the Steelers because they're at home and because I trust Mike Tomlin more than I trust Robert Saleh. But you can believe that I am not going to be putting any of my money down on either one of these teams because ick.
This feels like the FCS equivalent of NFL football right now. I don't see anything in either of these teams at the moment. And, you know, we were all on both teams, hopefully, about, you know, making their way and actually doing some damage in this league. But as of right now, I don't see it until we see Zach Wilson's improvement and until we see Kenny Pickett in the game. I don't think I have a lot of emotions about either of these teams. I'm going to watch it because it's football, but I'm with Kyle. I'm not enjoying this game whatsoever, regardless of how close it is, because even if it's close and high scoring, it's pretty meaningless.
Yeah.
This is the game that Conference USA college players watch to remind themselves that they can play in the NFL too. Listen, the Jets and the Steelers, if I had to pick one, I'm probably leaning Jets just because the Stormin' Mormon could come out of injury feeling like he's just going to go torch it up. I don't know. I feel better about him than Trubisky, I guess, but that's really asking a lot from me. 3 points, it seems like a coin flip. I'll go with the Jets just to give them moral support, but I'm not touching this game, and they'll be lucky if I'm watching this game, to be honest.
No, these Jets do not get my favor ever again because of what they did to me last week. They got my hopes up. They won. I was so excited.
You're at some point you're gonna face another Cardinals Panthers situation with the Jets where you're gonna say you're never gonna take the Jets, and then they're playing a team that you've already said that about too. You can't keep drawing these hard lines with these teams. We've got 15 more weeks of football to go.
I'll draw as many lines as I want because at the end of the day, it's written in pencil, not pen. I can erase whatever I want.
All right. Well, I am done with talking about that game. It's got more airtime than it deserved. But this game we're going to talk about because this game is going to be an awesome game. Now, I've got Ravens here +3, and I'm taking the Ravens just because they are the underdog and they are at home. I'm not excited about betting on the Ravens, but what I am excited about is betting on the over on this. Now, right now, I was able to find 51.5 points. I love 51.5 points because I was talking with somebody else. They had bet it at 55. I was like, look around. You can get it for a lot cheaper than that. This is going to be, I mean, these quarterbacks are going to be just so much fun to watch. Josh Allen is fantastic. Lamar Jackson is on pace for 68 total touchdowns. Now, he's not going to do that, but that's just giving you a sense of just how awesome he has been through 3 weeks. He's been incredible. He's been way better than the year that he was the unanimous MVP. He was so good in 2019. Nobody else deserved an MVP vote, and Lamar Jackson is better this year than he was then. Josh Allen, better this year than he was last year when everybody thought he should have won the MVP. I just love these two offenses. Obviously, the Bills' defense is really banged up. The Ravens' defense gave up 28 points to the Dolphins in 1 quarter, so I don't think these defenses are going to do anything to slow these two teams down. I'm thinking 35-31. This is going to be a shootout. I love it. I also have my prop bet from this game, and I went with a same game parlay for my prop on this one. And I've got Josh Allen over 281.5 passing yards, added to Lamar Jackson over 54.5 rushing yards. That's paying plus 257. I am all over that. I think both these teams both these quarterbacks are just going to have phenomenal days. This is going to be a game we all want to watch. And it's going on at the same time that the Jets and Steelers are going on. And so, yeah, it's easy to ignore that thing because this game is the game of the week. We're going to watch that and we're going to love it.
You know what? I would not touch this game in the spread at all. I don't know what's going to happen. It's so up in the air, but I think you're going to make a good amount of money on that parlay because this is going to, and on the over under as well, because this game is going to be high scoring. It's going to be electric. And in all honesty, this could end up being one of the better games that anybody plays this year. I'm excited.
Yeah, this is a great combination of two teams that have lost to Miami. Let me tell you, this is gonna be a great game. Lamar is like having a running back that can play quarterback and a quarterback that can play running back. The guy is an absolute stud. Absolutely gonna be a bonkers game. I'm with you on the +3 here. I'm definitely on that same game parlay, and we'll probably throw the over as an extra leg on that myself in my personal life. But yeah, I think we're all in agreement that this game is going to be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, just going back to DVOA, the Bills rank first in DVOA. The Ravens rank third in DVOA. These two teams are efficient. They are great. They will be a lot of fun to watch on Sunday. Moving on from the Bills and Ravens, we're going to go to a game that's probably a little less exciting to see, especially when you consider all the injuries that the Chargers have suffered. Now, the Chargers just got themselves their asses handed to them by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now they've lost Rashawn Slater for the season. He tore his bicep tendon. Joey Bosa's having surgery on his groin. They expect him back at some point this year, but he's definitely not going to play for several weeks. Justin Herbert has still got all of those, all that injury or his fractured rib cartilage. And what in the world is going on with Brandon Staley? You're getting boat raced by the Jaguars. You've got a quarterback who has fractured rib cartilage, and you not only have him in the game in the fourth quarter, you have him dropping back to throw passes. Do you know who threw the most passes last week of any quarterback? Justin Herbert, the guy who's injured. What is Brandon Staley doing? He is going to ruin this guy, and he's going to ruin this franchise, and he's going to be out of a job. Look, I think the Chargers have enough to get past the Texans, but I love the fact that I'm getting 5 points for Houston at home. You may remember these teams played last year. In fact, it was a game had the Chargers won, they would have gone to the playoffs, but instead they got demolished by the Texans because the Texans ran all over them. Dameon Pierce now actually looking like the Dameon Pierce we saw in the preseason. Davis Mills, he's a fine game manager, but the Chargers are a wreck. The Chargers are an absolute wreck, and I'm taking my 5 points here. I just don't have any faith in the Chargers right now. I don't have faith in Brandon Staley, and I'm sorry, set Herbert down. His next 12 to 15 years are far more important than the next couple of weeks.
You know what? What is with the Chargers and these rib injuries for their quarterbacks? It's just everything just gets messed up when the quarterback has a rib injury. Tyrod Taylor, gone. And then now we got this, right? And you know what? I completely agree. I think that Brandon Staley should be held accountable for what he's doing right now. They have more than capable running back room. Their offensive line isn't bad, even without Rashawn Slater. They're serviceable. They can handle themselves. I don't like the way they're playing this injury. It's really tough, especially as a football player, to go out and not be able to play. But it's for the greater good.
I just be echoing everyone else's sentiment. What the heck are they doing? And it's crazy when the Chiefs and the Broncos fan is saying, rest Herbert because he's fun to watch. Listen, the dude is a once in a generation talent, right? He's one of the best quarterbacks of this next, era of the NFL. And they're absolutely just not taking care of him. And it shows in the fact that they didn't change medical staff from the Tyrod Taylor incident. It shows that they aren't saying, hey, man, we know that you want to win and that you want to play because that's what a good football player is. That's the mindset of a competitor. But your job as a coaching staff is to rein him in and say, hey, man, your future's more important. Listen, I think the most inexcusable part is Chase Daniels is a serviceable backup quarterback. He can play the position. He's been in this position before, and he's performed decent. He had a win in Chicago, at least I know of off the top of my head.
He had a win with the Chiefs as well.
The dude can play football, so why don't you just let it happen? Because you have the roster to let you do so. I am taking the Houston Texans at +5, and I would buy up until +3.5. I think it's a field goal, maybe either way. I confused with the Chargers. Love the Texans pick here.
All right. My final game of the week, and it's going to be a good one. Rams at 49ers, the NFC West. Take it front and center. Now, the 49ers always play the Rams tough, but should they be favorites after what we just watched out of Jimmy Garoppolo? Should they actually be favorites at home? I say no. I know the Rams haven't put it together yet, but they're going to put it together. And against the team they hate the most, it seems like a pretty good time to do it. I don't know what the 49ers have on offense right now with Jimmy G. I know, Tommy, you're a big fan of their defense, and I think their defense is pretty good. But I think this Rams offense is considerably better than anything that San Francisco has. I like the Rams to win this game straight up. I think they win by a touchdown. So the fact that I'm getting points, I'm all over that. I love it. I'm taking those points, and I'm going to be cashing in on Monday night.
So there's a history here with quarterbacks that a lot of people think should be starters somewhere, coming in halfway through a game and performing really well. However, those quarterbacks tend to not end up having great seasons. a great example is Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's great when he comes in and when he's fighting for a job, when there's no competition. I mean, Jimmy G, as much as I love the guy, he didn't do what he should have last week. And with all due respect, the Rams are a better team too. The Rams defense is lockdown. And, as much as the Niners have a great track record against this team, and Jimmy G has a lot of history playing against these guys, and maybe the Rams aren't as good as they were last year. I don't know why they're favorites. I don't. And I totally agree with you here. I would even go plus 3.5 on this one. That sucked.
I have a question. Do the Rams score 8 points this week? Because that's all it took to cover this 2.5 spread last week. 8 measly points. That's a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. Are you kidding me? Plus 2.5 is criminal here. Come on. I know that they've taken a step back, but it's two things here, man. I just think that the Rams score more than the Broncos, and I think that San Francisco scores less than against the Broncos. I'm going to take the Los Angeles Rams at plus 2.5.
Well, yeah, 8 points is obviously 8 points is a weird score to get unless you've got Garoppolo dropping back in the end zone, and then 8's actually one of the more normal scores that you can get. So
yeah, is that taking into account the free points that they're going to give them? Jeez.
Yeah, so the offense really only needs to score 6 because Jimmy G is going to give them a couple.
No, you guys are dogging it. This is too much.
It's look. I'm no Rams homer, but you look at the guys they have and you look at the guys that the 49ers have, and to me, it feels obvious that the Rams win this game. But obviously, again, the 49ers do play them always tough. So who knows? Who knows?
And if we win, I'm coming back here and I'm going to go on a rampage. Okay,
but you're not allowed to call them we unless you actually get signed by the 49ers. And maybe they could use some help on the line. Basically, what I saw last week.
I really couldn't tell.
All right, so we've gone through our 15 games. We are now going to go on to our main picks segment, which is where we will determine our favorite, our top dog, and our money line, easy money line. So Ben, as the winner of our game, you will be picking first. So give us your favorite, please.
Yeah, my favorite really failed me last week, but we're just going to go right back to them because Vegas gave them a low spread. I'm going to take the Chiefs at 1.5.
All right. And your top dog.
My top dog of the week, it's gotta be the Rams, I guess. Yeah, I think the Rams are gonna be my dog of the week.
Okay. And your easy money line.
My easy money line, it was around the same odds last week. We're gonna take them again because the Raiders suck and the Broncos are just finding a way to pull it out of the fire. I'm going to take the Broncos money line.
Last week they only paid 104. I saw 123 today. So that's what we're going to give you credit for on Denver is plus 123. So not a terrible pick. All right, Tommy, your favorite of the week.
You know what? I've got a couple different answers that I'm going to switch up on the fly after our great discussions we've had. Oh, Gus likes that one. Gus likes this idea. But my favorite, I was going to pick Green Bay. But you know what? Gosh, that dog really does want to talk. I'm going to pick Detroit. I'm going with Detroit on this one. That's a tough call, but you know what? They are a top 3 offense at the moment, in my personal opinion. And oh wow, this dog is going ballistic. But I said it before, I'll say it again. 5th in passing touchdowns, only 2 interceptions, 3rd in rushing yards, 2nd in touchdowns. They have a great 1-2 punch from quarterback to running back. I love it. I think they're going to demolish Seattle.
All right, your top dog.
Top dog, I'm going to go with Arizona here. I mean, the plus 1.5, you know, I have some – don't do that to me. I'm gonna rock with them one more time. I have faith. I think they're going to do all right.
You had like a 5-minute diatribe about how much you hate the Cardinals, and you have 15 games to choose from, and you're choosing the Cardinals. So I don't know.
Carolina's just really bad. What do you want me to say?
You don't have to pick Carolina here. You could pick any
league.
other team playing. There's a whole bunch of games. All right. No, Arizona. We're locking you in on Arizona.
Yes, I'm locked in. I don't care. I'm locked in.
Okay. All right. And your money line pick.
Ooh. So this was a little
do
weird.
the double. Go with the Cardinals again.
You know what? Yes. I'm going to take that challenge. I'm having 3 Cardinals picks today.
They're paying plus money, so
3 Cardinals picks today. And if this doesn't go well, if I lose all these picks, you will never hear the words Cardinals, Arizona Cardinals, come out of my mouth ever again.
You know you're guaranteeing that you might get the Cardinals every week for the rest of the season now, right?
Yeah, please.
No, it's a randomizer.
If they win,
it's completely random.
Yeah, it's definitely randomized. But if they win and I get my 3, I'm going to be a happy man, and I will root for the Cardinals for the rest of the year.
Fair enough. Okay. So for me, my favorite of the week, I am going to go with the Green Bay Packers. I think the Packers handle the Brian Hoyer-led New England Patriots pretty easily. So I'm going Packers, my favorite, my top dog. And I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens. I know I said I wouldn't bet the game, but you took my Rams. I was going to go Rams, but the Rams are now off the board, so I'm going to go with Baltimore. I had thought about the Texans as well, but I'm sure Lovie Smith will figure out some way to really make me angry there. So I'm going to stick with the Ravens because I trust John Harbaugh. At least I won't be angry at the coach if I lose. And for my easy money line, I am going to go with the Atlanta Falcons. I know that they've got a tough one. I know that when we talked about the game, we weren't necessarily picking them, but they're also playing plus money, and I want that cash. So that is our show. We have made picks for all 15 games. We have our favorites, our top dogs, our easy money line picks. We've also given you our top 3 props of the weekend. So on behalf of our sponsors at usawager.com, we appreciate them. Thank you very much to Ben O'Connell in Chicago and Tommy Birch in Massachusetts. I am Kyle Garlett. Thank you very much for watching week 4. Happy wagering. We'll see you next week.